welcome. Today, or this video, I'm going to go ahead and do a sequence that is kind of for folks who maybe aren't super familiar with yoga, or they're just getting back to it, or maybe you come from just a totally different yoga lineage than I do. But we're going to do sun salutation, and this one's going to be very pretty simple, as far as sun salutations go. Very approachable for most people, and will form a really good starting point for pretty much anybody. It seems like every teacher you talk to, every studio you go to, they have a little different version of sun salutations, or they change over time. They're also called Surya Namaskar. And basically, and if you don't know, all they are is a series of movements that are linked, and you do the movement in connection with your breath, right? So you go up when you inhale, you go down when you exhale. So there's just like this back and forth move on each inhale, move on the exhale, move on the inhale, move on the exhale. Those are called vinyasas, and you might hear about like vinyasa yoga. That's similar to this, right? It's a lot of that just sort of flow from pose to pose to pose to pose. But for today, I'm just going to talk about a simple sun salutation, something that's pretty foundational that you can always build on and alter to suit your own needs. And the reason we do this, particularly in relation to yoga and recovery from substance abuse, is it really does bring you into the moment. This constant, just awareness of breath and moving really just sort of takes all this extraneous stuff out of the equation, right? You're not thinking about tomorrow, you're not thinking about yesterday, you're not kind of lost in thought. You really find yourself in the moment, which is the absolute foundation for how yoga supports you in recovery from alcoholism, drug addiction, whatever it may be. So sun salutations, this sort of vinyasa work, is really pretty core to the practice of yoga supporting you. Now, I don't want to say that vinyasa is everything, and it's definitely not. I would say that in general, maybe start with a warm up, like a somatic practice from my other video, where you're on the floor and you're just moving gently. Again, that's a breath and movement practice. It's a lot more subtle. You're never going to sweat when you do the somatic work, unless it's 110 degrees outside. Whereas this kind of vinyasa work, it can build some heat, which is great. Right now it's February 2025, and it's raining like crazy out here where I am, and it's cold. So there's that piece of it too. The seasonal element, you want to build some heat in your body, perhaps, and vinyasa is a great way to do it. So beyond vinyasa, though, we also will do more traditional hatha yoga, and that's where we're going to find poses and hold them. And that's where, in terms of the recovery journey, that's where you're going to find that kind of stamina to weather difficult stuff, right? You get into a pose that might be kind of hard to hold or a little uncomfortable, or you just want to get on and do something else, but you're going to hold the pose, and you're going to decide how long to hold it, right? You'll say, I'm going to set a goal of 8 breaths, and you're going to hold the pose for 8 breaths, unless it becomes painful or is harming you. And that's a huge piece of the whole philosophy behind yoga for recovery as well. So lots of pieces. This video, I've already talked too long, is going to be a really kind of straightforward, simple sun salutation. Maybe the next video I can do a little bit more, vigorous, a little more skillful sun salutation. And you can kind of choose which direction you want to go. But I'd say just go ahead and try this out. So for props, I have some blocks at the top of the mat. Those are really just if I like to put my hands on blocks instead of the floor when I'm folding forward. You'll see that. I have a blanket here. For this case, it's for my knees because there's some kneeling in this work, and my knees are just sensitive. I don't like to be on really hard floors, and the mat isn't quite enough padding typically to make that approachable. I have a bolster in the background there. I don't know that we'll use that right now. Usually I have a strap around, but we're not going to use that, or a belt, depending what you call it. Won't be using that for this little piece, but it's a great thing to have. So, okay. So I'm assuming you've done some kind of, warm up, whether it's the somatic floor work or the satya work that I've shown, or whatever your preference is, just to kind of get some movement going in your body, warm up the joints so we don't, just don't want to cause any problems. Okay. And so we do that. And then you come to the top of the mat and maybe just stand into Tadasana just for a moment. Arms by side. Right. Starting to feel into your breath, inhaling perhaps through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And even in this standing pose, we're starting to connect to breath, right? That felt sense of breathing, of the either might be the rise and fall, like you feel like you're lifting and settling down. You might feel like you're getting wider or then contracting, or you might just feel like the sensation of air passing into your nostrils, over your lips. So it's different for everybody and changes throughout time. So just feeling your breath. Back of the neck nice and long, chin just lightly tucks. Now let's go ahead and just take a bend in our knees. Feet are, hip width apart or so. A little bend in the knees. Maybe you'll feel that kind of weight coming down into the feet when you do that. And then just by pushing down into the balls of the feet, heel of the feet, re-straighten your legs. And right there, you might start to feel a little bit more of a lift. Coming up the inseam of the legs, going up into the pelvic floor. And just 3 more breaths right here. Okay, and then we'll start moving into our sun salutation. The first couple I'll go through quite slowly and explain some stuff as we go. And then we'll move into a little bit quicker pace that's probably more in line with your actual rhythm you'd want to do the work at. Okay, so let's go ahead. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, palms face one another. Exhale, you can take a soft bend into the knees as you fold forward, big swan dive. This might be the first place you want your hands to blocks or hands to floor. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shin, or again, hands to blocks. Back kind of parallel to the floor, right? And then we're going to exhale, taking our fingertips to the floor. And let's step our right foot back and bring our right knee down to that pad or the mat. Inhale, arms come up as we lunge forward just a little bit. Exhale, hands to the mat, step that back, front foot forward, back. I got my directions turned around. Into plank. Push into the floor through your inhale, and then just take your whole exhale to lower to the floor. Top of the feet come down, elbows in, and we're just going to lift into a real low cobra. Back bend, exhale, out. Inhale, we can push back to our knees, and we're going to lift hips into our first downward facing dog. Knees can stay totally bent, no problem. Press through the hands, hips move towards the back of your room, and you kind of straighten your legs to your ability. Again, they don't have to get straight. You want your hips to lift to the sky. Shifting weight to the left foot. I'm going to pick up my right foot, step it forward towards my hands, bring the left knee down. Inhale, lunge on this side. Exhale out, hands down, feet together, halfway lift for an inhale. And deep forward fold, Uttanasana. Exhale. I suggest you soften your knees just a bit. Inhale, sweep the arms wide. Maybe draw palms together. And hands to heart. Okay, that's the basic sequence that we're going to do for this one. You notice we stepped back with our right foot first in the first round. So in the second round, I'd step back first with the left foot. Just because there is some difference, like the way you're going in and out of these poses, you don't want to create a bias to one side or the other. There probably will be one like already there, a bias of your own. But, you want to kind of seek that more symmetrical experience. Also, that was pretty slow. And when it goes into when you get into it, you kind of have the rhythm, you'll probably pick up some speed. You don't need to go fast. That is not the point at all. But you want to find the pace that's right for you. Okay, so let's go into another kind of slow one. One more time. Starting from Tadasana, arms down by side. Then we inhale, sweep the arms up. Palms can come together, they don't have to. Exhale, fold deeply into Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins or blocks. Exhale, hands down. Let's step the left foot back this time. Left knee comes down. Inhale as we arch the back, lift the heart. Exhale, hands down, stepping into plank pose. Press into the floor for the inhale, and then slowly lower on your exhale. Tops of feet down. Inhale into a back bend. Pull hands towards hips. Gently exhale, down. Inhale. We're going to push ourselves back into down dog. There's a few ways you can get there. Bend your knees or go through a push-up. Either way is fine. Hips move back and up. I'm going to pick up, this time the left foot steps forward. Exhale, knee down. Inhale, lunge, arms up by ears. Exhale, hands down, feet together. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway. Exhale, fold. And then soft knees. Inhale, sweep the arms. And draw hands to heart. And just take a few breaths. Now, that's the sequence. Just switch the other side, right? You need to kind of decide how you want to count that. That could be considered one sun salutation because you did the right foot back first the first time, the left foot back the second time. Or you can be a little more forgiving with the numbers and call that two. I'll leave it up to you. And you just decide, how many you want to do in any given morning or afternoon. It's a great practice for the morning or the midday. It's a little heating for the end of the day, a little charging maybe for the end of the night. There might be some different stuff we would do, within the couple hours before bed. But, you do you. You do what you feel is right and just pay attention. So if you choose to do your sun salutations at night, just see how it feels for the next hour in your body and how you go to bed and how you sleep and how your appetite is and things like that. And just at least notice that. You don't have to change it, don't have to make any engineering decisions on it, but notice it. Key part, again, of yoga and recovery is just noticing what's going on in our body. Okay, so we'll do a couple more rounds. How about just do each side one more time, and I'll go at my pace of breath, which does not have to be your pace of breath, but either follow along or go at your own pace. Here we go. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, big dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, right foot back, right knee comes down. Inhale, sweeping arms up as we lunge forward, arch the back. Exhale, hands to floor, steps to plank. Inhale, press the floor away, and exhale and lower. Inhale, elbows in, arch the back, cobra. Exhale out. Inhale up to downward facing dog. Get there how you like. Hips lift. Inhale, let's pick up the right foot. Step the right foot forward and exhale. Come down to the left knee. Inhale into the lunge. Exhale, hands to floor, feet together. Inhale, crown reaches forward. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rising back all the way up to standing, hands to heart. Just going right into the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, left foot back, left knee down. Inhale, lunge. Not a deep lunge, just get a little stretch there. Exhale, hands down, plank pose. Hold plank through your inhale, lower on your exhale. Inhale, back bend, elbows in. Exhale out. Inhale, rising back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot up, steps forward, right knee down. Inhale into the arch, the lunge, exhale, hands down, feet together. Halfway lift, extend the spine on the inhale, exhale, fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, rising up. Hands to heart on the exhale. As I said, we'll just kind of pause there for the video. And you would, do as many as you think you should. 8 is a great number. I would say in that case, you're counting, right side 1, left side 1, it's 2, that kind of a thing, alternating, right? But you be the judge. I suggest too that you, before you start, you kind of set a goal, a limit, a container for the practice. So you say, I'm just going to do 4, okay? And then you're doing it, and you start off and you're cold and you're stiff. You start moving. The end of 4 comes and you're feeling great. You're like, I'm just going to keep going. I suggest not doing that. And it might feel great to do it, and you have the capacity. But in a sense, I think learning to set these really honest kind of limits and goals and boundaries and containers, call them what you will, is super valuable in this work, right? So you're not doing, 12 one day because you feel so gung-ho, and then just stop after 3 the next day, right? You set a goal, you attain it, and it's a realistic goal. You attain it, and then you kind of move on. And if you finish your sun salutations and you have a lot of energy still, you can step right into other stuff, right? Other types of yoga movement. You could do lots of hatha yoga. You could do some yin yoga, which is where we take a pose and hold it for a very long time. And we'll get more into that in subsequent videos. But so yeah, okay. Back to the point. Set your goal, honor it, respect it, do it, and build that discipline, right? So after your sun salutations, you might be done. You might have to go get ready for work or whatever. And so I would say, you stop. You're going to end in Tadasana, and you can decide. So the most classic advice in yoga is going to be you go into Shavasana at the end of your practice, kind of whatever the practice is, right? And Shavasana, of course, is just laying flat on our back. And I'll just give a quick glimpse of that if you're not familiar. So here, Shavasana, pretty easy to understand, I say. You just lay down, and you'll notice I'm using a little cushion for my head, and that is not just for cushion, that is so my chin doesn't rock away from my chest, right? It's especially, older folks and guys can be so tight, and we lay on our back and our chin just rocks away, and it's like we can't undo that. So get a pillow, get a little cushion. Don't be worried about props. Let your head come down, chin kind of tucks, arms either down by side, maybe arms on belly, let your toes tip out. Here's Shavasana. Just lying on your back, and release and soften. Okay. And Shavasana, you really want at least 3 minutes. And how you time that is up to you. If you do have to get to work or something, you maybe you do set a timer on your phone or watch or whatever to remind you that it's time to stop the practice and move on with your day. But in Shavasana, here we lay. So now the other thing I'd say, there's a different kind of another perspective on this. Notice as I get up, I roll to my side and push myself up. Always the recommended thing. But like I say, since we were in our sun salutations, you're going to probably end standing. And there are teachers that say your practice should end depending on what you're doing next, or where you are in your day. So if you did this first thing in the morning, you do your sun salutations, you're about to get on with your day, that it might be totally fine just to stand in your Tadasana, take a minute, or a whole bunch of breaths, and really just kind of turn this into a standing meditation, and relaxing and letting all the work integrate and stuff. So we're going to stand in Tadasana for, again, say a minute, 15 breaths, 30 breaths, something like that. And then you're done and your practice is over for this moment. and you go about your day. So it's your choice. You can always, the most common recommendation is to end in Shavasana, but there is also the option to, end your practice in the physical position that you are going to engage in next. I don't know how to say it really. So if I'm first thing in the morning, I got to get to work. I'm going to finish in Tadasana. I'm going to stand for a moment in meditation. Maybe, the recovery piece, perfect time for a moment of gratitude, right? Feel the gratitude that you could do the practice, that you could do whatever it is you did, even if it was hard, even if it didn't go as whatever you planned. Just the gratitude for the practice, for the moment, for the time to do it. Wonderful way to wrap your practice up. But as I was saying, I get off track so easy. So you finish in the position you're going about next. So if you're going to do your practice and then you're going to go, get dressed and boom, you're out the door or whatever, it's totally appropriate to finish your practice standing, right? Now, if you're at the end of the day, you might do a different practice than sun salutation. Chances are you're kind of getting towards bedtime, you're more likely to end on your back on the floor, in Shavasana. And then, there's some wiggle room in there and you kind of decide what's right for you. If you have the time, you're not in a hurry, Shavasana is probably the best option almost always. But if you can't do it, at least do a moment of standing meditation in Tadasana before you, hit the gas and take off. So, okay, so that's the kind of a gentle sun salutation. And let me know if you have any questions and comment, send me a note, send me a message. Check out the other videos in this playlist. This is, kind of an intro playlist for yoga and recovery. Yeah. And I hope you stay well and are well. And if you're not feeling great, I hope that improves for you. And you take care of yourself. Yeah. And keep doing your good work.